Special press conference. We are joined today by OU Vice President and Director of Athletics Joe Castiglione and his family, wife Kristen, sons Joe Jr. and Jonathan, and daughter-in-law Jenna. OU President Joseph Harroz and his wife Ashley. OU Chair of the Board of Regents Anita Holloway, and fellow Regents Rick Nagel, Bob Ross, Rick Brott, as well as many additional friends, colleagues, and supporters. Speaking in the following order this morning will be Joe Castiglione, President Harroz, and Chair Holloway. Following podium remarks from each, Joe and Joe will jointly take questions from media here at the table. At this time, please join me in welcoming OU's Athletics Director since 1998, Joe Castiglione.
This is like most churches where the deacon's over here. I guess I'm the priest today. Didn't go to the right podium. Should know that. Wow, I don't know what you all are here for, but good morning. Thank you so much for being here. I stand here today in my 28th year serving this great university, feeling both humbled and honored, sort of like that spring afternoon in 1998 when I was standing on the steps of Evans Hall being introduced as the 11th Director of Athletics in Oklahoma's history. You can only imagine the rush of emotions that might be going through. So usually I'm more of an extemporaneous type speaker, but there are a lot of emotions today, and I want to make sure we stay on point. And I'm going to use some prepared remarks, so indulge me because just seeing you all even evokes emotions. We're in an emotional business, and I've never, ever shied away from sharing my passion or showing it. So why are we here? In the past couple of months, I've moved from a fleeting thought to some deep life reflections. We all do that from time to time, thinking about my career, my life journey, my family, my faith. I guess you could say life itself. In 1979, just before I was graduating from the University of Maryland, I was offered a full-time job at Rice University. Obviously excited, I accepted the full-time role. It was the first step in my life where I was going to bet on myself and show that you could take something that no one has ever heard about. Back then, now was a different story, but sports marketing at the collegiate level. No one was doing that. And I took that full-time job, and I have been working full-time ever since. No breaks, no time, just being part of a journey that is really not work. It's a privilege to do what I do. So here I am in my 33rd year as Director of Athletics. Simply put, I love what I do. I love being able to serve the University of Oklahoma in so many ways. And as I mentioned, it's just not work, as people would think. It's really a privilege. However, from time to time, one does take a moment to ponder one's path, one's future. It's a decision-making kind of rubric. When is the right time? When is the right time to pass the baton? When is the best time to make an announcement like this? Not sure it's ever perfect or predictable, but they always say you'll know. Well, I see a friend of mine here, multi-Emmy Award winner, producer for CBS, and it just made me think of a certain kind of moment. There's this iconic moment, if you've ever watched The Masters on CBS, where after the tournament is concluded, Jim Nantz, the previous Masters champion, the new Masters champion, goes to Butler Cabin. They have a few moments of conversation, and then just almost punctual, Jim Nantz turns to the chairman and says, "Mr. Chairman, it's that time." So now is that time. And I'm mixed emotions like you would expect, but I'm really excited about the future. So today it's more appropriate, like, Madam Chairman, Mr. President, it's that time. But I also want to do what's right for everyone involved. That's just the way I am. Helping facilitate a smooth transition over this upcoming academic year, I wanted to give the university plenty of runway to facilitate a search as I enter my final year as AD. I'm really grateful they've asked that I'd stay on in a role for a couple of years, not only to help with the transition, but there's some really special and key projects for our future here at Oklahoma that I'm going to be very proud to help the whole staff and the university at large see to fruition. So I technically won't officially retire until July 28, and that'll mark 30 years of me serving the University of Oklahoma. Although amongst all the emotions that you have for making a decision like this, above all, it's a profound sense of eternal gratitude and pride in everything that we have done all together, everybody. It's never about one person. It's about the collective efforts. And I remember we stood on those same steps at Evans Hall and introduced the brightest and greatest new coach in college football and become one of the greats of all time in college football history, Bob Stoops, and he said those exact words, and they have always remained true. From the academic achievements to the numerous championships, the development of all kinds of new resources for student athletes, to massive growth of fan engagement, it proves that when Sooners look for the magic in everything we do, great things and success will follow. Anything we've done is due to working with and for great people. I have so many people to thank and recognize. Don't worry, I'm not going to start thanking them all right here. I have the next weeks and months, to do that, and you can rest assured I certainly will. But for the purposes of today, I want to start by thanking the most important people in my life, and that's my family. Everyone knows it's absolutely impossible to be successful in the roles like people like me have without the support of one's family, and especially one's spouse. Okay, y'all, let's just get this out there. It's many examples like this where you just can't avoid your life and personal milestones intersecting with work and business, and it's just what we do. You just have to know, if you're in this world, it's going to be intertwined. So I've apologized profusely to my wife, but today is our 30th wedding anniversary. So of course, we had to make an announcement like this. No, it just worked out as a total coincidence. It's also, coincidentally, my son Jonathan and our daughter-in-law Jenna's second anniversary. They didn't plan that either. That was a serendipitous moment. They said, July 8th, is that somebody's birthday? No. You need to know your mom and dad's anniversary. It's just again, how life paints a picture is incredible. Perhaps, though, that's fitting, because my decision to move on from the full-time role in the next year is truly about, the next step in our lives' journey. I want to spend more time with them. Undoubtedly, this job, like coaches and staff and anybody around the country that do this, like we all do, presidents, it takes you away from a lot of what your family does. We've been lucky. We've captured every moment we could. But my wife, Kristen, she is the unsung hero of these past 27 years. We moved away from her home in Missouri to come here. She has been the one who has lifted up our family, and there are all kinds of stories that I could tell about that. But she also recognized that athletics is more of a calling. It's a vocation. It's not a job, really. You are called to do this. You are called to help people, and we choose this path. And we've had a lot of fun doing it. She was amazing at finding the ways to adjust. Can't tell you how many dinners we had up in the stands watching events. The kids were running the stairs, had no idea what was going on, but we were there, wanted to be there for all of our athletes over the years. And that's not even counting when they were involved in their own activities, sports or whatever, growing up. We just had a lot of blessings because she was the one charting the course. And I'd be remiss if I just didn't ask her to stand up right now. And I can thank the love of my life, Kristen. Of course, I'm equally proud of my two sons and now my daughter-in-law, Joe Jr. and Jonathan. Joe was just 1.5 years old when we came here. He didn't really, he's just kind of figuring out things. So both of them, and Jonathan, born here, sooner born, sooner bred, as they say, they've only known being a Sooner. And they've lived it to its fullest and will always be proud to be a Sooner. It's also not easy for kids to grow up in the environment we're in. Father's the athletic director, and people being who they are, stopping them. It didn't matter what age. It could be 4th grade, 6th grade, high school, it didn't matter. Their peers talking to them about what's going on. You'd be amazed at what some of the kids would say. Where did they hear it? Probably from their parents, but they'd say it to them. And they were always passing on suggestions for coaches' hires. Even the teachers were doing that. So I know it was challenging. And we talked about it. You can prepare for it, and our coaches do the same thing with their kids. But I'm just really proud of the way they handled all of those moments with class and dignity. It's not easy. It was so gratifying when both of them chose to come to be the Sooners again by attending the University of Oklahoma. And so between the 4 or 5 of us, we have 5 and soon to be 6 degrees from the University of Oklahoma, including one that I earned a master's degree while I was here. That was a fun experience we could talk about another time. So I love you all. Again, you have no true understanding what a family goes through unless, like coaches, you live it. So can I just ask my family to stand up? And I want to publicly thank you for all your patience, all your sacrifice, and for living what's best in serving our university too, even though you weren't working, but you represent the best of what a Sooner is all about. Thank you, please, guys, for standing up. My family. Okay, thank you, guys. I love you. So everyone knows the story of OU recruiting me away from Missouri. I was in my 5th year as athletics director there. We really had things rolling. I was happy. But David Boren and Chuck Ninus were really persistent. They kept calling. I told them no, actually twice. But the 3rd time was the charm. And boy, am I blessed it happened. I will be eternally grateful to them, the general counsel at the time, Joe Harroz, the board, everybody that was involved in bringing me to Oklahoma. I've been so fortunate to work here, work for a great university and state leadership, many of which I've known personally throughout this time. I want to thank all the members of the Board of Regents, those that were in place then, and all those that I've served with and served themselves. And I'm so proud that 4 of them, and thankful for you all that you're here today. I appreciate you, Madam Chair, the Vice Chair, Bob, Rick, Mackenzie Wilfong, another one of my fellow executive officers, which, by the way, I want to thank them as well. There are a lot of those that you don't just do anything by yourself here. I told you at the beginning, this is a moment of expressing gratitude. I thank you all because it's been a partnership through all this time. And I mentioned, the general counsel at the time when I arrived, my good friend, Joe Harroz. So, say for about 2 years, we have worked together. And he is in the 6th year of just executing bold vision, amazing leadership, uniting this university with people throughout the state, this region, this country. We have a specific path. I know we're going to get to the goals that we've set for ourselves. He's relentless in pushing everybody, which definitely great leaders do. And I couldn't be more thankful to have served with you, my friend Joe. Thank you so, so much. To the faculty, to the university community, everybody intersects. Believe me, they do. So thank you for the great relationships that we have and enjoy throughout the years. I want to express my sincere appreciation to the amazing donors for the transformative power that they have in investing in our university, along with the greatest fan base in the world, Sooner Nation. Look, we live in times where we can express our passion. No matter what people say, it's never going to be perfect, all positive. But believe me, continue to express it, because that's what drives us and our program forward, by people staying engaged and actively engaged. So thank you. I thank the members of the media, whether it's local, regional, national. I had many media-related jobs earlier in my career. I've had opportunity to be behind the camera and do certain things that many of those that are here today and around have done. I always have great respect for you. I've always tried to be accessible and approachable and tried to help you with right information, because I know what you're trying to do and what we're trying to do, and it's best when we can find ways, as awkward as it might be at times, to be on the same page. So thank you for what you do in covering the University of Oklahoma and everything that goes with it. And finally, I've been positively influenced and blessed to be around incredible leaders, be it here, be it throughout our conference, around the country, the national committees in which I've been able to serve, so many different ways. I've had a lot of mentors, worked with a lot of great leaders, conference commissioners, my fellow AD colleagues. The wisdom that you can gain from them, the counsel, the willingness that they always have to share ideas, it really helps make everybody better. And we need more of that in our world. And I hope that can continue to help support the best of the best with the future of college athletics needs. When I first accepted this role, I knew it would be challenging and demanding, of course. But that's also what inspired me to seize the opportunity. Any new leader should, and I did, brought a bold vision, a strong set of core values with me. But I knew I had to seek first to understand the situation so I could refine the plan and engage others in the process. I hope to have a transformative effect on OU. What I couldn't fully understand and appreciate at the time is how much this job and this place would actually transform me. As OU athletics evolved, won, struggled, and won again, I felt myself not only learning, growing, and wanting more. And I owe much of that to the amazing student athletes, the coaches, the staff that we work with day and night. Their hard work made me work harder. Their determination made me more determined to help them be successful. Their commitment made me more committed to be there for them every step of the way. I have often said that the measure of a program isn't just the banners that hang on the walls or the trophies in the case. It's in the journey with the lives that we touch. That's where the special sauce exists. Including in that is the values that we stand for. Over nearly 3 decades, I have seen firsthand what amazing things can happen when a group of people believes in something bigger than any one person. That's been our mantra, and it should always be the mantra of the University of Oklahoma. Together, we've weathered adversity, which at times has paved, the way to celebrated historic achievements and unforgettable victories. We've watched generations of student athletes grow into leaders on the field, on the court, wherever, and then into their careers and in their communities. We've proven that excellence and character are never mutually exclusive. That is something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. So, to our coaches, past and present, you have set a standard for what it takes and means to lead with purpose. To our staff, past and present, your commitment has been the backbone of everything we do. And most importantly, to our number one priority, our primary purpose for why we exist, our student athletes, all of them, past and present. You are our why, the reason this entire program exists. And you have made every early morning, every late night, anything in between, all worth it. And I also want to thank the people who support them, behind the scenes, their families, for believing in the University of Oklahoma and trusting us with your son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, brother, sister, whatever. You believed in this mission, and you helped us carry it forward. So, as I move into the new year, I'm more committed than ever to finishing strong and ensuring a smooth transition. The future of this program is really bright because of the people in this room and beyond. The people who show up every day with integrity, passion, and that unshakable belief that sports can really unite us and then change lives. That's what we do. That's the power in what we do. So this is certainly not a farewell or goodbye, but as I said at the beginning, I'm going to spend all my time thanking people because without them, I'm not standing before you. When the time comes for me to move out of this current role, I can assure you that our family will continue to be proud Oklahomans. This is our home. This is our community. You will see us everywhere. You will see us in the stands. You will see us cheering for the program, the athletes, and anything this university does going forward. We want to celebrate those milestones with the university as well. And like I've been doing as an athletic director, the the role you have with athletes and coaches and staff never stops. So I'll continue to take all those calls and requests to write a letter of reference or make a call to a future employer. It's all good. We'll continue to do that. So even though we're not done yet, I do want to thank you for giving me this true honor of leading this program. I thank you for your trust, your dedication, your friendship. We've accomplished so much, and I'm excited about what this year has in store for us, and I look forward to sharing the journey with you. Boomer Sooner.
Thank you for that, Joe, and thank you for all that you've done and will continue to do for the University of Oklahoma. Next, we will have President Harroz. President?
Thank you. I think we all feel it. It's this moment of sort of poignant celebration. It's the mix of both. When Joe came in and told me it was time, I started off with denial and then flashback, because sometimes you always think about it through your lens. And to me, the flashback is when he started in April. In April of '98, I was on the steps of Evans Hall when he was being announced. Here comes this beautifully mustached man. Looked a lot like Joe's mustache, a little bit darker. And Kristen, and I thought, this guy has no idea what he's getting into. I had seen the books. They weren't good. We had about a $23 million budget, $22 million budget. We were in the hole about $18, $19 million. I asked him, Joe, appreciate you coming in, and he goes, oh, it's going to be great. Oklahoma's great. And I thought, you have no idea what you're about to see. And it's amazing how quickly 27 plus years go by. And it's always interesting, especially starting off as such a young person here and now being at this stage. And you look at friends and colleagues that become family. And it does have that celebratory component because you're so excited for them and they deserve it. And then there's also the poignance sort of I can't believe it's already been 27 years. I think you measure those that are truly great in these roles by a few factors. And to me, one of those, obviously, is can you keep the budget where it needs to be? That's a tricky thing. And if you look at what's taken place, and I won't belabor it all here, the purpose here is to make the announcement. Believe me, there will be celebrations of Joe to come. I'll be fedora adorned as we celebrate him. But when you look at what that looks like, we started off $18 million in the hole on a $23 million budget, and today we're at about a $235 million budget as an enterprise, controlling costs, growing revenue in ways that I'll get to in a minute that require immense creativity, and all the while building excellence while inside of that. Where we're standing right now is a testament to that. It's one of the physical manifestations of what excellence looks like. It's choosing the right coaches. We got a number of them that are here right now, including two legends in Sherry and Bob. And there's a temptation to catalog all of those successes, and they gave me a bunch of talking points about them, but I'm not going to go through every one of them. I'll tell you just a couple as an example, and almost everybody here knows these by heart. But during his time, over half of the national championships in our 135-year history as a university have been earned. And when you look at them, since his arrival in '98, we've had 26 national championships, 117 conference championships, 26 consecutive bowl appearances for football, which is the second longest streak in the country. Men's and women's basketballs for 5 Final Fours. The list is really long. Softball hadn't done bad either. And when you look at the physical component of this, you see this East Side suite. When I was general counsel, Joe C. came to me along with Larry Nafee and said, we want to build the East Side Stadium. I said, you've lost your mind. Nobody would ever pay those rates for these suites. I made them sign the document on the financials to make sure they were standing behind it. And he was right and they were right. And when you look now at the south end zone and you look across the entire enterprise, most recent example being Love's Field, this place is fundamentally different than it was 27 years ago. When you used to walk across the east side underneath here, when he showed up, it was gravel and dirt. It's matured a little since then. Our women had just left Reeves Park to come play softball here on this campus. It is a fundamentally different place. You know, Bob's often connected with the idea of being a program guy. Well, Joe, you've built this program. And I think we have to all understand that and appreciate that. Those are measures, right? Those are measures, the budgets, the performance, the accolades, 4 Heisman Trophy winners. We can list them and they're easy to chronicle, so I'm not going to belabor those anymore. That is the sign of an accomplished athletic director. That is the sign, and those are the indicia of an athletic director that has performed in their space. But there's a difference between being a high performer and being truly great, and that is to understand the true mission of the institution and be a complete part of that. And that's the difference. Joe C. hasn't just performed, he has become a part of the very fabric of this university. Whenever we recruit student athletes, we always talk about you're coming into a family. And a lot of places say that, and a lot of places it is just hollow words. The difference is it's meant, and it's believed, and it's lived, and Joe does just that. And Joe's family's done that. I can't tell you how many games they've been to. He went ahead and got his master's degree while he was here as AD. And I can tell you how many options he has had to go to higher paydays. A lot of folks like to leak all the times they get a job offer. That isn't the case with Joe C. Blue chip program after blue chip program has come calling for Joe. And every time he's told them no, clearly and quietly. The last one I know about those was just 2 months ago. And I won't say the name of the program. But they came and said, there be no search. We'll just name you. The position is yours. And Joe, when I found out about it, I said, Joe, I understand they're coming at you. And Joe looked at me and said, well, this is home. I'm not going there. I didn't see KJ until just now. Talk about national champions. To me, that is what great looks like. Not just a high performer, but a leader of the family. Someone who is an indelible part of that. As Joe said, whenever he arrived, I was already here for a few years, then I left for a couple years. You find out after you're gone for a couple years and nobody thinks you're coming back what they really think about you. And what I was absolutely blown away by was there are those precious few who call you anyway, who reach out to you, who check on you, who want to know what's going on in your life. That was Joe C. in the 2 years that I was gone. I was gone from 08 to 10, and every major holiday, every major instance, Joe C. was checking on me, asking, genuinely caring and interested. And we've all felt that and seen that, right? From his employees to the press to everyone he treats, all of us with respect, all of us like we matter. It's easy to separate and have athletics be over here, be its island. He went on a bended knee to the faculty senate exec and has met with them every year and doesn't have to do that. Most years, twice a year. There's a humility with excellence that is leadership by example. And that's a rare thing. We've enjoyed that now for 27 years in this role. When he said it's time, I said not yet. Of course, he wanted to allow for an orderly transition, but I also asked if he'd stay on for at least a couple years, get him to his 30th anniversary, which I didn't realize today was the 30th anniversary, but get him to 30 years at the university. We're not done yet as a university. East side's done, south side of this stadium is done, west side's not done yet. Right? Across the sports, we're finishing up a redo on gymnastics. We've got baseball. Not sure if you knew about that, Skip. And when you look across the enterprise, basketball and all of the sports, we have so much more to do. And I asked Joe C. if he would stay on and help us with that. Help us raise the resources to get that done. Yes, you can have your life back, but can you still give us a piece of it so we can keep this moving forward? The great ones leave when the organization is in a place that it was better than before they took it and it's poised for excellence. That's what Joe is doing. Had the same conversation with Bob Stoops when he made the decision to leave. While on top, while the program couldn't be any better, while it was best to continue a transition at a time when it can reach new heights from there. That's hard to do. It's hard to do. But he's doing it, and that is special. And once again, leading. Joe C. is a remarkable person. I've been with him when we've been in a ditch a few times. We got to go through 2 major infractions cases together where I was lead counsel and he was leader of the program. I've been with him during great times, celebrating national championships. We got to do one recently. Thanks, KJ. So many lows and highs, and that's where you find out the true measure of the person. Not just are they good at their job, but are they great people? He's never turned on anybody. He's been fully committed in every way. You go around and ask anybody in this industry who they respect the most, who's the godfather, and not just because of his Italian heritage. And they'll tell you it's Joe Castiglione. Every time there was a hard job to do that took him away from his family, he has to go undercover for the selection committee for the CFP, right? He has to go undercover for the final, for the NCAA championships, spending a week or 9 or 10 days away from his family. So many areas of service he's given where the shiny lights aren't there, but he's doing the hard work because it's the right thing to do. That's character. I've not met a finer person of character in my life. It is an honor to work with him all of these years, and it's going to be an honor for the next 3 as we go through this. He's handing off this lead role at a time when it's on top, in the most Joe C. way possible. There for the orderly move, staying on to help. I can't thank his family enough. I've watched them grow up. We've sat with Kristen an innumerable number of times. Family sacrifices. People walk up to me and they'll say all the time over the last 3 decades, they're like, you know what, I'd love to be AD. They have no idea what being AD means. They have no idea. It's 24 hours a day. It's 7 days a week. It's like a head coaching job. You live it. There's a reason he's the longest serving in the country in this role. It's damn hard. It's really hard. And it's hard to do under any circumstances, but it's hard to do and perform at this level. Joe, we're going to be honoring you over the course of the next year. I'm going to try and talk you into going beyond your 30th anniversary to stay associated with this. It is a poignant celebration, as I said when I started. It's a celebration. You deserve it. You've accomplished so much. Your family deserves it. We're all better because of you. And we're not just better in terms of athletics. This entire institution is better because you never made it about just athletics, because you knew athletics was bigger than just athletics. It is the connective tissue for a great institution of higher education. When we look at our strategic plan, and we've talked about where does athletics fit, in its highest state, athletics is not something ancillary to the university, but it's something that connects everybody, where everyone sees play out on the fields, on the courts. They see playing out miniature versions of struggles and success and failure and hopefully struggles. But what they also see is excellence that they can be a part of, that they can feel a part of. You perform well as a student or as an alumnus when you're accepted by the university, but you don't perform at your highest level unless you feel like you belong. Unless you feel like you belong. Under Joe Castiglione, OU Athletics has shown us not just excellence, but it's shown us that we belong. And he's made us feel that individually and collectively. And every time he's turned down a position somewhere else for more money, including just 2 months ago when he said no to a wonderful program, it's because this has not just been a job to him, it's been a passion, it's been an all-in commitment. And we talk about our purpose being to change lives. I can tell you, Joe Castiglione, you have changed lives. Love you. Thank you. Our chair, Anita Holloway, is supposed to be racing off to Dallas right now to catch a big flight for her busy and important job at EY. But she was not going to miss being here. She's not going to be able to stay for Q&A, but she wanted to say a few words. Chair Holloway, thank you for being here.
Well, normally I am a person of few words. However, this one is special. And so I'm going to channel my inner Joe Harroz, and we may be here for just a minute. So I'll apologize in advance right now. Joe, on behalf of myself and the Board of Regents, congratulations to you and your family. In reflecting on your announcement, I just couldn't help but reflect back on, as Joe Harroz did, that 1998 press conference at Evans Hall when you were hired. And I never dreamed at that time, nearly 30 years ago, that I would develop a deep friendship with you and Kristen, and just how meaningful that has become to me over the years. For those in attendance today, I want to paint a picture. And I want to go back to that 1998 press conference and remind you of what the Castiglione family looked like then, as well as what OU Athletics looked like then. And given we believe in a high-performance culture here at the University of Oklahoma, I want to highlight some of Joe's own comments at that press conference and evaluate his performance over these last 27 years against what he promised to do for us then. So in April, when Joe was hired by OU, as he mentioned, he and Kristen had just been married 3 years. They only had one child, Joseph, as you heard, who was 16 months old at the time, and they put down roots here in Oklahoma by welcoming Jonathan a couple of years later. And then as Joe mentioned, their family grew again a couple of years ago when Jenna joined the family. So as they've shared today with the degrees that the family has earned here at University of Oklahoma, this has truly become home to the Castigliones. And as famous as Joe is for being on the sidelines of all of our sporting events, you are just as likely to see one or more of the other Castigliones in the stands cheering hard for our Sooners. I know Joseph, a former student athlete, sits right across from me where I can see his eyes and we can make eye contact at the basketball games. And I can tell you we are generally very aligned on the officiating within basketball. So you keep at it with those refs. I'm right there with you. And I can guarantee, in addition to knowing exactly what is going on the court or on the field, Kristen is equally plugged in, just with her kindness and care for all of our Sooner fans and student athletes. You'll notice her noticing people, checking in, and just in general being one of the most welcoming people that I know. And you see, in my opinion, the Castigliones represent the very best of what we come to believe Oklahomans are. They're kind, they're friendly, they have integrity, they're honest, and they're just, as we put it in my small hometown, truly good people. So thank you for being Oklahomans. And as to OU athletics, for context, in 1998, Patty Gasso was the only head coach who was in position when Joe joined us and was hired as the athletic director. Mark Williams was here, but he was an assistant coach. And so you think about that transition of so many coaches over so many years and what an incredible job he has done. And I can also count on one hand the number of other athletic department employees who were here in place prior to Joe. And there's only a few: Larry Nafee, Greg Tipton, Mike Hauk, Renee Forney. You know, just a few who was here. And Joe has transformed that entire department with every other hire. In 1998, John Blake was our football coach. Kelvin Sampson and Sherry Cole, who are with us here today, were just hired as our basketball coaches. We were still part of the Big 12 Conference, which was actually in its infancy, only 4 years old. As Joe Harroz mentioned, the upper deck here that we're standing in the east side of the stadium, the bowl on the south side, had not been constructed. Love's Field, Headington Hall, the Griffin Family Performance Center, none of those things existed. And all of the other facility upgrades that Joe has mentioned. At that press conference in 1998, Joe C. declared, "We want to compete on a championship level in every sport every year." And boy, has he delivered. Under his leadership, as Joe Harroz mentioned, 26 national championships. He also promised, as Joe Harroz mentioned, to confront the problems within our athletic department from a financial standpoint. Today, our athletic programs are one of the few in the country that operate with a balanced budget and without relying on state or student support. That's due to Joe Castiglione. During his tenure, he's made amazing coaching hires, been laser focused on taking care of our student athletes, and built Oklahoma's reputation for being a program that operates with integrity and sportsmanship, that wins the right way, and that is known for compliance. He loves to talk about our winning culture, but when he really lights up is when he talks about our student athletes and all they have accomplished, their graduation rates, their GPAs. You see, Joe has been the athletic director under 3 different presidents and numerous University of Oklahoma regents. He's navigated us through unprecedented times, the COVID-19 pandemic, and guided us to our biggest move yet, our move to the Southeastern Conference. And he has put us in a position where we can assure and be more assured for the future stability of our program financially in these changing times with revenue sharing and NIL. But what's truly most amazing in all we've met today, we haven't even scratched the surface of Joe's individual awards, achievements, and accolades. And the thing is, Joe wouldn't have it any other way. For him, it's always been about being a servant leader. He works for the good of the athletes, the coaches, the state, the university, and Sooner Nation at large. It's never been about him or his ego. Instead, he's worked behind the scenes with integrity, humility, class, and loyalty to this university. But he's always kept in mind, as he said in that 1998 press conference, that we're all accountable for our performance, and that includes me. His words, not mine. What strikes me most is in the high-performance culture of college athletics, how truly unprecedented it is to have an athletic director for 27 years. The stability, the integrity, the consistent success that our athletics programs have achieved directly attributable to his leadership. He's built and sustained winning programs. He's prioritized the student athlete, their education, and their ability to succeed both on and off the quarter field. He has set the standard truly for what a Power 4 athletic director should be. And Joe, leave it to you with your selflessness to time everything perfectly and plan ahead for an orderly transition. You've chosen a time when our programs and coaches are stable. You've given us plenty of time to hire, onboard, and ensure the success of the person who will follow you. And while we know you'll be around for some time to come, let me be one of the first to express my gratitude to you and your family for all you've done and your superb leadership. Your stability and wisdom as we continue to navigate this significant transition will be invaluable. We know you bleed crimson through and through, and your tenure has been and will always be one of the most significant chapters in OU's athletic history. We are extraordinarily grateful for your years of service and sacrifice to our university, and we'll plan to continue to celebrate in the coming months. I'll leave those of you today with one final story to emphasize the impact and reputation that Joe has within college athletics. One of my company's clients is FedEx Corporation. It was founded by Fred Smith, who actually just passed away a couple of weeks ago. Mr. Smith was an amazing man who did his homework. He was always just one phone call away from the best experts on any topic. And a couple of years ago, when he was weighing a sizable gift to college athletics, the person he reached out to for perspective on the topic was none other than the best athletic director in the country, our athletic director, Joe Castiglione. So needless to say, Joe is irreplaceable. But the one thing I will leave you with today is, Sooner Nation, you have my and the entire Board of Regents' personal commitment that we will make sure that we're hiring the next best athletic director in the country. We want to continue the legacy that Joe Castiglione has set for us of performance, integrity, and national championships. So thank you, Joe, and Boomer Sooner.
Okay, we will start in the second row on the right with Jenny Carlson of the Oklahoman. Jenny?
Yeah, President Harroz, just curious about the selection of the next athletic director. If you could walk us through the importance of that hire. I don't know if you'll find somebody that will be here for another 30 years, but what are you looking for, and just how important a hire is this for OU?
Yeah, Joe 2.0 will be their actual title. What was the last part of your question?
The importance of this hire overall for the university.
Yeah, it's a, everyone knows the evolving landscape of college athletics. It couldn't be more dynamic. One of the great, when we look back at Sooner athletics history, one of the most important moves strategically that we will see was when Joe Castiglione came to me when I came into this job 6 years ago and said, we have got to make a move either to the SEC or the Big Ten, then laid out the case for the move to the SEC. And with that counsel and direction, we in Texas became first movers. And that is the reason, the most recent example of the kind of foresight and vision you need as an athletic director to navigate a rapid disruption. And so the athletic director we're looking for next is someone that can identify the landscape and act. I think a lot of people could have identified it and had identified it before Oklahoma and Texas made their move. But Joe identified it and said, we got to move. And then that took place. So when we look at the attributes that we need for the next athletic director, it's someone that has both the vision, an understanding of the landscape, and the ability to act, to move. And the changes are going to continue to come. And so I think the most important attribute is someone that understands the changing landscape and has the ability to navigate it. I think that's the central attribute today, and one that we'll be looking at. We've already announced Randall Stevenson will be leading that search, and that's for a different day, but those are the attributes that we're looking for, and we've been fortunate to have them. I thought it was interesting when Chair Holloway talked about the A4, right? I mean, that statement alone, the fact that that was the A5 24 months ago, I think perfectly identifies the acceleration and the breadth of change. And so as we look at this, and as we receive Joe's counsel on this, that is going to be a central attribute that is something that might not have been contemplated 4 or 5 years ago, and will be a touchstone as this search takes place.
Okay, we'll stay in the same row. Eric Bailey, plus the world.
Joe, your fingerprints are going to forever be on this program. What are your hopes in your successor, and what's the biggest piece of advice you could give them as they can take over this program?
Well, of course, we want whoever it is to accept the baton and take the program further. The whole idea is to continue to grow the people inside and part of, but OU athletics directly, connected with our university. That's it. It's a growth mindset. So whoever it is, that's what they need to do. And I'll, like all of us have said, be there to be supportive all along the way. But as the president has mentioned, we could talk about the person's skill set, the foresight, technical knowledge, and all of that, and that'll get measured. But if you lose the essence of what we're about in college athletics as part of executing on those kinds of ideas, then you've decoupled what makes us successful. And so whoever that is needs to take whatever new version of college athletics is and couple it with the brightest and the boldest strategies and tactics. And be unapologetic for loving what you do, building great relationships. I see, now that I'm down here, the light doesn't blind one as much, but, I keep looking at so many people in this room, and especially our head coaches. I see my assistant of 21 years, Jan Meeks, here, and my current assistant, Ann Deal. They've been in the foxhole too, and they see what's going on. But I remember trying to convince coaches to come to Oklahoma and who we were and what we're about. So we were selling these really key characteristics, and most importantly, the elements of what makes a great culture and how it grows and develops. So that's got to be part of what this next person brings. And involve the family. I see our First Lady, Ashley Harris, and we, as the president said, this is just not some kind of sales pitch when you throw family out there. We are unapologetic for who we are as a family. You're going to see the emotions like you see, or we're going to just be who we are because we want people to be authentic. So I'm going to answer your question is, above all, be authentic.
Okay, same row. George Stoya, Sooner Scoop.
Yeah, I've got a question for both you guys. Joe C., I'm wondering how much has your job maybe changed over the last couple years, and how does that shape the perspective of the next AD and what that position looks like moving forward in college athletics? And for Joe H., you talked about Randall Stevenson. What is it about him that gives you confidence that he can find the next right AD in this, changing landscape?
Let me go first. It's not going to fit in a soundbite, unfortunately, but what I will say succinctly is first recognizing the moment that change is going to occur and doing your best to be prepared for it. One of the most challenging parts of the period that we're in is there's never been a moment like it, not only in college athletics. I think you could look across various industries. They all go through some moment of disruption and change, and the ones that see the future, that adapt, pivot, be flexible, those are the ones that navigate it, not only survive, but become stronger when they get on the other side. We are just a multifaceted enterprise that has the complexity, I don't know, like no other, because we have so many different levels and people that have ways to lean in and how to please too many people, and it's just not like some kind of hierarchy from the top. You can change it, whether it's a board or the leadership. So you have to work with people, and we have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable period that we're in, and that's where we are. So if you're not willing to lean into it, get scarred up, nicked up, try to find the solutions that are necessary in a moment in time where we're still not structured the way we should be, in a moment in time where we're still using our best experience and knowledge to do what's right, to keep athletes engaged and on campus and programs thriving. Realize sometimes you don't have full control of everything, but you better exert as much as you can. But lean into the future, and don't be afraid to be a change agent. And know what comes with that. It's not going to be always popular, and not everybody's going to understand the elements to it. But I will tell you, the ones that look at what the mission is and keep their eye looking forward, they're the ones that are going to win. And so however you want to define the skills of the next AD, you better be a leader that can lean in, accept, and effectuate change of the future. Because if it's not if the people in the business don't do the leading, then who is?
I can feel Bob Stoops looking at his watch right now. I think we all can. Yeah, with this answer. I'm going to keep it tight just to avoid the annoying conversation afterwards. What gives me confidence? So Joe and I reached out and brought in Randall back in October because we recognized how much change there was. And we knew we needed somebody that loved the university, that had truly world-class talent at recognizing disruptive change and adapting to it. In his 13 years as CEO of AT&T, that's what he lived in, was disruptive change. He's been involved with the PGA of America. He's done massive media deals. He understands the media landscape. And so we brought him in to give us a hand. I think you saw a product of that, of he and Joe working together with bringing in restructuring, putting in the GM operation, putting Jim Nagy in there, the talent he attracted, and that putting us in first, as I understand it, in the country position of a true pro GM front office. So what gives me confidence that he will do a great job leading this? Because it's going to combine. We asked, it's not good form to have the successor pick, the predecessor pick the successor. Joe C. has agreed to be an advisor to the committee. The committee is going to be tight and really talented and good. And Randall's going to have not just his own background, but that of the committee, and Joe C. providing advice to help hopefully bring to bear that collection of talents to find the next Joe C.
Okay, let's go to the back left corner. Toby Rowland, News 9.
Joe, on your retirement, if you were asked, would you be willing, interested in accepting maybe a larger role in collegiate athletics and trying to figure out how we take this forward?
He's going to stay with us. Thank you for the question. Next.
But I do love your suit, Toby. I am really, brother, I've been trying to get you in one for a long time, and you look awesome. Who knows what the future will bring? And I'm not leaving any little dangling thing so somebody could drive a wedge into that. I don't know what's going to come. I appreciate our chairman talking about being a servant leader. I've always wanted to be first and foremost a servant leader for the athletes and the coaches and the staff, this university at large. But, the business itself has, offered me chances over the years to serve in leadership roles on various committees. And so I don't know what that will mean going forward, but I still have a high motor. I still have a lot of passion, and I still know why I made this decision. So whatever it is I do choose, it will be done in concert with what Miss Kristen thinks is best for our family. And she deserves, she deserves the utmost respect for that part of the decision.
And that's how you make it 30 years, people.
Back to the right side, third row, Eli Letterman, ESPN.
For Joe Harroz, Joe mentioned the runway he's left here, headed into a football season. How do you view the timeline on a process like this? And with Randall Stevenson, his background and the shifting landscape, how does that open up for potential candidates?
Yeah, beyond grateful to have the runway. It would be, in most instances, you see someone who just leaves and goes somewhere else, and you're stuck. And so, in true Joe Castiglione fashion, giving us this runway, and he's given us lots of runway. So it's going to allow us to go through a process that's not rushed, and one that is disciplined, and that takes into account the landscape that we're in. And so I feel great about the timeline. We're not, sometimes in athletics, you have a week or two to do your hiring, whether it's a head coach or an AD, and we're just not in that position. And I've got, every confidence in Randall and the team around him. Again, it's a search committee. And Randall's expertise, as I said before, coupled with advice from Joe and others on that committee, and we'll be announcing that committee hopefully relatively soon, what that committee looks like. I think you'll see from the composition of it, once it's put together, that we've got a committee that can provide both insights into where the landscape is going, also an understanding of our history and tradition, and coupling those together to get the right person to be here. So it's going to take a little time, but I think we'll have that right team being led by Randall to move us forward.
Okay, same row, far right, Bill Haston, Tulsa World.
Yes, sir, for the president. So you have Heisman Park and you have the coaches' statues. Have you given any thought to how you'd like to see Joe honored eventually?
I think there'll be more news on this front. There is going to be an honor. It will likely be in bronze, and we'll address that at a later time. But it's important. It is important. And you've got to recognize those great leaders. Athletics has a tradition of honoring those that have made historic impacts on the enterprise. We even gave Bob Stoops one. And so as we look at this, the answer is this is an announcement, and there will be celebrations to come, which I hope you will attend, and we'll be properly recognizing Joe's contributions.
Okay, back to the second row, Colton Sully, the Oklahoman.
President Harroz, you mentioned just the unique front office structure that you guys have built here. How attractive will that be to prospective hires? And then also, how will having that structure kind of help you and the committee as you go about this process?
Yeah. Hopefully it allows, it's interesting. When you look at and you speak to Jim about the way he's built the team around him, and you look at how quickly he collected that talent that has 60 years of NFL experience, and when you speak to those individuals, when we recruited Nagy, when he recruited those that came with him, they were immediately attracted to the fact that it was a unique structure and that this athletic director and this institution recognized what today and tomorrow looked like, and that we were prepared to lead into that. And so my belief is is that by having this unique front office structure, that it will attract candidates that are very serious people that want to live at the highest, that want to win at the highest level, and that understand that we're serious about giving the next Joe C. the tools necessary to innovate and to lead into a changed landscape. So I think it's a really important attribute that allows us to demonstrate and not just say that we're innovative, that we're cutting edge, and that we know how to adapt to disruption, and that we're committed to winning in that environment.
Same row, Myron Patton, OKC Sports Radio.
Joe C., I know you got some time left, but say when you are done, what do you want people, your legacy to be when you look back at some of the things that have happened since you took over as AD? What are the things that stand out most to you that you're most proud of?
Well, just the, I think it builds off the theme that I started out my opening remarks. Look, I could do without this setting of an announcement because it's never, ever been about me, and it never will be. But if I've done anything well, it's to find the right people with the right qualities, with the right passion, the right plan, the ability to teach and build confidence in others, and pour into them everything to help them be successful. So I appreciate, it's good to see you, Bill, by the way. I haven't seen you for a while, but Myron, I appreciate, moments like this where the recognition is coming my way. But why I appreciate it the most is because it's recognizing everybody else that helped make a moment like this possible. It's not about me. I always thought that if I could help others be the best version of themselves, then I was doing what I was called to do. And it's never been about an ego. So when I see Bob and Sherry and KJ and Skip and Patty and the other coaches I can't see because of the lights, Porter, whoever's here, and those that came before them, they're the reason why any AD gets any accolade, not the AD themselves. So if you want to see the people that do it the best, look for the success in the others. And then their success means the person that was in that role to play that point position to help them be successful, then they're doing the right job. So for me, it's just be able to celebrate them, celebrate others' success.
Okay, we've got time for just 3 more questions. We'll go back to the third row, Ryan Chapman, Sports Illustrated Sooners.
Joe C., we've talked about the changing landscape, but when you look at the next couple of years, what are a couple of the biggest challenges for athletic directors as college sports continues to restructure itself?
Well, this is a big question and one that everybody wrestles with all the time, so it's a good one to ask. If you're looking at one thing that has to be addressed, that's the mesh point between the athletes and the sports they play. Yes, we're working through the best ideas we have at the moment, but the mesh point is where it's going to sustain itself for the longer period of time. It might take different shapes and forms before we get there, but the idea of recognizing the world we're in, the athletes that contribute their time, their talent, and the universities they represent involves compensation. And it's so much more because we're colleges, not pros. Who knows what the world means, whether it's employee-based or not, but and who knows what certain sports do to stay successful. But there's still the mesh point. Like any team, pro or college, high school, junior high, the softball leagues, every team has the connection of the mesh point, why you're part of it. And we've got to be better in that space. And I think Joe mentioned it. Learning how to handle it is also being self-aware that we've spent pretty much a lifetime building a model that was so different than where we're going. And we got to be able to involve those that have been part of a model similar to what we're going forward to adapt, how they can bring something to it. So my hope still is that college athletics stays true to its core, that is connected to the North Star, which is education, and that it finds its footing, its structure to be successful in a changing world where it's okay to celebrate your athletes and it's okay for them to share in something that is making the overall program successful. And they still want to come and be part of a great university. They want to develop. They want to have the relationships with coaches. They just can do it in a new structure.
Okay, two more. Fourth row, Davis Cordova, Norman Transcript.
Yeah, Josie, kind of talked about the special projects that you're going to work on in the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. What did those look like, and what are some things you wanted to accomplish with the rest of your time?
Well, as our president mentioned, we're just finishing up several important facility projects for sports. We haven't even had the groundbreaking, ribbon cutting, whatever you want yet. We've had a few in the last year or so, but our golf facility, our tennis facility, our gymnastics facility, they're various stages of completion or just being completed. But going forward, there's still some needs for several sports, most notably our baseball stadium, and I feel very confident in the guess everything we have in terms of momentum around that, what Coach Johnson has done, and I thank him for being here. The West Side Stadium project is the biggest project we've ever attempted here. It's the first grandstands that the field had. It wasn't called Owen Field back then, but in fact, Benny Owen was the one that helped build the stadium and hadn't had a lot done to it since, except for maybe the upper deck 50 years ago. And we've got a transformative plan for that. We still have great excitement around the entertainment district that we're partnering with our city and our county and what's good for the citizens and residents of our community, as well as the regional aspect of it. And then
The academic.
you want to tell that?
No, it's your idea.
Well, I don't I like it when somebody else's
All
idea.
right,
No, so you can tell it about my idea.
Yeah, we were talking about this, and one of the as we were talking about what really excites and interests Joe, and how do we keep him here longer, he brought up the idea of creating in the College of Business, or maybe even more broadly, an academic program around sports management. And with the connections that he has, the excellence of the institution, the Price College of Business, the ability to build out a program, not just at the master's level, but more broadly, that could be really engaging and exciting. And then we also had a broader discussion about the potential for, sports medicine and the direction that could go with OU Health. So when we think about what this role looks like, we know it involves fundraising so we can complete. He hadn't finished his stadium yet. It involves those components and the other capital projects we're looking at. But, on brand for Joe, it's also the academic enterprise and opportunities that exist there.
So even in part to answer the earlier question about and there have been several about what you look for in the next AD, what the future of college athletics all about, I think this can be the nexus of teaching the next generation of future leaders. One of the things I've been most proud of being in a role as athletic director for 33 years almost, is that I was able to hire great staff who had a passion to do what I was doing, and there's literally 33 of them that have left wherever they were after I had a chance to hire and work with them, that have become athletic directors and now 2 conference commissioners. And so I do have, this sort of gratitude about the mentors that poured into me, and I've always include mentorship as big part of my leadership strategy, if you will. So that's what I think we can do to teach the next generation here and position them for this new world going forward.
Okay, final question, fourth row on the aisle, Carrie Murdoch, Sooner Scoop, and Sports Animal.
Joe C., this one's for you. There's been a lot of talk today about vision, attributing that to you. I know the last couple of years have been probably really frustrating for you, just the landscape of college football and college sports. Spending these next year, 2, 3, whatever it's going to be, how much do you really want to get your hands dirty, kind of getting that figured out from the university's perspective, and how you handle NIL and how you handle revenue sharing? I mean, I have to think that it's pretty important to you to kind of leave here clean and with all the work that you've already put into it.
Well, that's what excites me. I mean, none of this is perfect. If you could put a structure out there, said, okay, that's what the new world is supposed to look like, we'd all be aggressively attacking the path toward it. The part of it is, the challenge of it, yes, but the excitement of trying to shape. And like you said, Carrie, the most important thing for me is to leave this program pointed upwards. And I truly believe going into this upcoming year, there are countless examples where you can point to where we're going to take big positive steps forward. And leaning into, doing what's necessary to position Oklahoma for success. So I don't look at it like, I don't look at the issues or what we don't have. I'm more excited about focusing on the things we either have or need to have to be successful. And I want to work with the president and obviously when the new AD comes here to help transition the right way so we truly keep the momentum that's been started. And it's positive.
Okay, that's all the time we have this morning. Thank you certainly to Joe and to Chair Holloway and to everyone for attending. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.